All right. Happy New Year, everybody. And let this stand to be the first edition of the Better Roadways podcast here in 2025. We've got National Pothole Day coming up. And let me tell you something, National Pothole Day is not to celebrate all of these potholes that are occurring across America's infrastructure. It's really to raise awareness and kind of allow us to reflect on why these things really occur and what we can do to prevent, mitigate these things moving forward. A little bit of a fun fact as I was doing some research, because I was interested in this. I've been in pavement management land, that I like to call it, for about 27 years, and I've never asked this question, so I'm going to ask it to all of you. Where did the term pothole even come from? I've got the answer. It's actually pretty cool. So, according to my research, this dates back to the 15th and 16th century in England. And if you can remember back in those days, we had a lot of covered wagons and wagons. Those are, our primary mode of transportation. And I can tell you, someone being in Central Ohio, occasionally my wife and I will get up to Amish country and we'll go check out all the goods and the sites, get some good eats, those types of things. And what we notice up there in Amish country is that's obviously still the primary mode of transportation today. And those wagon wheels produce what? What do they produce in roadways? Well, they produce ruts, specific ruts by those wagons. And what I found was, going back to, again, the 15th, 16th century, potters would go to those locations where those ruts existed because it was very easy to get the impact and dig those out to access the clay underneath those rutted areas in the pavement, or in the roads, if you will, and access the clay for their pottery. Hence the term pothole. You probably didn't know that. I know I didn't. Now we can consider us all of ourselves to be educated on where the term comes from. How do potholes exist in this day and age? Let's think about that. Here we are again in 2025. We know that billions of dollars are being allocated every year towards vehicle maintenance repairs because of these pesky potholes. Our cities have these 311 programs. A wide variety of options exist to go report these potholes. But the bottom line is it causes a lot of pain points as a motorist. I'll tell you, as a pavement management professional, I'm not even immune. Now, this goes back to last year, because pothole season, while National Pothole Day might be now and happening now, pothole season is coming soon to every roadway near you. And I say that because they're predominantly created through freeze-thaw events. Right now, it's probably about sub 30 degrees in Ohio. Fortunately, at this point so far, in the winter, we've been under a freeze. No real thaw events have occurred yet, but we know they're coming. And what we look at for pothole creation is basically, it's very straightforward. We don't need to break it down into the science. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details of all these things. I'm going to focus again through the lens of pavement management, preventive maintenance, preservation, what we can do to prevent these things. But look, we know that all roadways begin to crack. They begin to crack basically day one. So when an asphalt pavement is being laid, through, the climate, through oxidation, we know daily temperature cycling, longitudinal transverse cracks, they start to appear. When those start to appear, what happens is, unfortunately, we're not really in a preventive maintenance mode here in the U.S. We're more in a reactive worst to first situation. So the roadway, hey, I just paved it. It's only a year old. It's only 3 years old. It's only 5 years old. That's kind of a lot of the mentality, whether we like it or not. That's what's happening. So what happens is, as those cracks open up, we're going to get what? We're going to get water. Water's the biggest detriment. We're going to get debris inside those cracks. They start to work their way into that surface. Granted, it's at the surface level. Over time, repeated traffic application. Predominantly potholes happen where? They happen where the tires roll. They happen where our vehicles are. That's because of that daily stress and strain. So you kind of compound the issue when you've got your surface-related cracks intermingling with structure-related cracking. That's from the bottom up, from that daily stress and strain. And if we are not providing any preventive maintenance measures, i.e. crack sealing, rejuvenation, surface treatments, if our mindset is simply, let's pave it and forget about it for 12 to 15 years, this is what's happening. So as all that stuff is getting into these cracks, again, year in, year out, freeze thaw, blah, 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 these are how the potholes start to form. Once you get that alligator cracking, maybe in some rutting with these areas, those pavement pieces, they become subjected to that daily traffic. The pieces start to rock a little bit, right? They start to move, and then you get more and more, and it compounds, and they start to pop out. There's your pothole. So at Pavement Management Group, probably more specifically, my company, I do a lot of lunch and learns, a lot of national talks. I always lead with a lot of this, which I'm about to say. And, depends on who's in the room. Some jive with this, some shake their head at me, some want to laugh me out of the building, and I get it. But I say potholes are a choice. The majority of potholes are a choice. By neglecting those cracks early on, by not preserving and protecting your roadways, you are subjecting those to these potholes. So how do we stop potholes? How do we mitigate potholes? This guy James out here saying potholes are a choice. What does that really mean? It's very simple. I'm going to give you a game plan. Very simple, straightforward. Once your asphalt pavement is put down, you've got to start thinking about, from day one, a rejuvenation event. The rejuvenation event, in the case of, say, a mulching replacement technology, that's going to keep that pavement flexible. It's going to penetrate that asphalt, keep it pliable, let it do its job the way it's supposed to do. What is that? It's keeping everything nice and tight, still allowing for a flexible pavement surface, mitigating the oxidation elements, delaying your longitudinal transverse cracking. But when that does happen, because cracks are going to form in your roadways, that's when you start looking at the quantity of cracking occurring that's climate related, and then scheduling your crack seal program. So a great cadence to follow, I'll give you one. And this is a little on the subjective side in terms of time and when you want to do it. But the bottom line is, if you were to rejuvenate your roadway, let's say within the first year of its life, you probably have an optimal opportunity to come back to that pavement in year 3 or 4 and do it again. And then when you fast track another 3 or 4 years, so now we're at pushing 10 years of the pavement's life, now's a great opportunity to do what? Crack sealing. Crack seal that roadway. And if you're doing it according to this cadence, you're probably going to be able to do that yet again another 5 years. Now, all of a sudden, we're in about 12 to 15 years of the pavement's life. The PCI has not dropped below a 70. There's really no opportunity. If the road was fixed, I should put that asterisk up there in that note, right? Assuming this roadway was built properly, constructed properly, it's not subjected to any load-related failures, so that's all out there. But now you're an opportunity about 12 to 15 years in this pavement's life. Again, never falls below that complaint line, where you can do something along the lines of a surface treatment. Wide variety of them exist out there. Think of your cape seals, your micro surfacing, maybe chip and seals in your rural areas, whatever it be. You could probably do that again twice. Now, all of a sudden, if you follow this type of a cadence, here's what I'm really telling you. You have basically eliminated the opportunity for a pothole to form. Now, when those structural issues do start rearing their ugly head, you've got to get some eyes on that. How do you do these types of things? Routine pavement condition assessments, leveraging platforms like Road Insights from Pavement Management Group. It's early on detection. It's just like in your health, right? If you want to eliminate certain things, you can take better care of yourself through a wide variety of diet, exercise, supplements, all these different types of things. It's the same concept through pavement preservation, preventive maintenance, roadway condition assessments, all of the above. So what you can truly do is you can make a pavement last 30 to 50 years. And what I mean by 30 to 50 years, I'm saying before we have to come back and do another full depth reclamation, cold in place recycling, or worse, a complete reconstruction event. Follow the timely treatments, right? Less potholes guaranteed. I guarantee less potholes. Better outlook, a more safer, reliable network, less repair costs, less phone calls and complaints, all of the above. So that's what it's all about. A great way to kick off 2025. No better way than talking about potholes, right? Because again, pothole season is coming. I want to give you some actionable things that you can think about. Feel free to hit me up in the comments of your thoughts and processes. If you think I'm nuts, you think I'm onto something, whatever it is, I'm that guy. I can take the criticism. I enjoy the engagement. I love engaging with all of you out there that are truly road warriors, really looking to make a difference, make the impact that you can. And again, this is one way. So if you ever hear that term, Potholes are a choice. It probably came from me. Next time you hear it, I want you to think about it a little bit. Is there really some credibility to that? And the answer is yes. If I can get out there early on and start performing preventive preservation activities on my roadways, what can I expect? The obvious is less potholes, but you can't really put in a lot of cases a dollar amount on the satisfaction of your infrastructure from your daily drivers. Right, those are your constituents, those are your taxpayers, those are the ones that are really paying attention. Those are the ones that we want to make sure we're keeping happy and make sure we're creating a sustainable, healthy roadway network for all of us for the future and many years to come. Hope you enjoyed this one. Check out my other podcast episodes. If you got any topics you'd like me to come on here and talk about, I'm happy to do those as well. I'm always taking requests. Until the next one.